Hi everyone, today I'm going to review the Veikk VK1200. This is an 11.6 inch pen display. This is actually a review unit from the company. Now this review is going to be quite long, so if you want to save time, you can actually check out the text review that I have already written on my blog. The link will be in the video description below. And if there are any updates, the updates will go to the text review. Just to give you the bottom line up front, the design, the build quality, the color accuracy, and the overall drawing performance of this pen display, it's pretty good, except for slight issues with Medibank Paint Pro on Windows and slight issues with the tilt sensitivity with Krita on both Mac and Windows. I'll show you the issues later on. The price of this pen display at the time of this video is US $249. The price will vary depending on whether or not there is any ongoing promotion and who you buy from. So these are the things included. There is this microfiber cleaning cloth, a card that tells you where you can download the driver, a quick start guide, one artist glove. This is a full-size HDMI to micro HDMI cable. This side will go to the pen display. This is the data and power cable. This is USB type A. The red one will go to the power, and this one should go to your computer. And this USB-C shape side will go to the pen display. This is the pen stand that allows you to rest your pen vertically. You can open this up and there are no replacement nibs here because the replacement nibs are packed separately, and there are a lot of replacement nibs included and this nib remover. You can put the replacement nibs inside here if you want to. Two pens are included. The build quality of the pen is quite good. The weight is not too light and not too heavy, just nice, and it's rather comfortable to hold. There's this matte surface texture throughout, which is nice. There are two side buttons here with firm feedback, and this nib here of course is removable. Now this pen supports slightly over 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, and there is also tilt sensitivity support. This pen is not powered by battery, so no charging is required. And lastly, two pen cases are included. So this is made with some thick felt-like material and provides good protection for the pen. So this is the VK1200 pen display. This is the smallest pen display from Veikk. They also have a medium and a large size. The medium is VK1560 Pro and the large one is the VK2200. So this is how it looks. The design is very clean and simple. On the back we have 4 rubber feet and this nice matte texture to it. I'm not sure what material is used for the back, but it feels really nice, and the overall build quality for this is surprisingly solid. It feels very dense, very heavy. On the sides here we have 6 physical shortcut buttons. The 6 shortcut buttons here are customizable and they have nice firm feedback with very audible clicks. The edges here are rounded off, so you can see this shiny rim here that goes around the pen display. The corners are all rounded off nicely. On the other side we have the power button, and this is for changing the brightness. This is for the micro HDMI cable, and this is for the 2-in-1 data and power cable. If the USB port of your computer provides enough power, then you just need to use this single black USB cable. You do not need to use the red one, but if it doesn't provide enough power, then you need to connect this to an external power source. Now the connectors here, they are shaped specifically to fit the pen display here, so you won't be able to use, for example, your own USB cable to connect. Straight out of the box, the colors look great. Of course, I have already color calibrated this display and I measured color support for 99% sRGB and 76% Adobe RGB. So the color accuracy for this display, it's relatively good. I mean, this is basically an sRGB display. The maximum brightness from what I've measured is 201 nits, which is bright enough for indoor use, of course, and that's the maximum brightness, and that's the white haze caused by the anti-glare. And you can see the brightness, the colors are still able to show through, like shine through the anti-glare, which is great. The anti-glare is not particularly aggressive, which is nice. The display size is 11.6 inches on the diagonal. This size to me feels kinda small. If you compare it to an A5 size sketchbook, such as the one that I have here, you can see it's wider. So yeah, if you have a sketchbook like this at home, you can get a sense of how big this pen display is, especially for the drawing area. So for this particular size, to me it feels kind of restrictive. I would have preferred a larger pen display, but of course a larger pen display is going to cost more. So this size is actually good for people who are looking for a smaller pen display, maybe as a companion to their main monitor, or maybe for those who don't have a lot of table space, because this pen display, it doesn't take up a lot of space on the table. The resolution is 1080p, so even though the display is small, the pixels are small, but you will still be able to see some pixelation. 1080p is still a very usable resolution to work with. So here I have palettes on the left side and also on the right side, and I still have a good amount of space to work with. The viewing angles are pretty good, so you can view the display from the sides, and the colors, they don't shift much. And because this pen display, it's kinda small and thin like a tablet, I find that I sometimes like to do some finger gestures, only to realize that this is not like a tablet. It doesn't have a touch sensitive display. The surface here has a matte texture to it, so when you are drawing, it has a nice tactile feel to it. Now this is a matte screen protector, so you can see the edge of the screen protector there. This display is laminated, but there's still a tiny little gap between the screen beneath and the pen tip. At least from this angle, you can see the gap. When you are working from your normal seated position, that gap is not going to be that noticeable. The only gap that is noticeable is the latency gap. So this is the very typical latency you can expect with pen displays, not specific to this model though. And because of the laminated display, when you're drawing, it really looks like the line, it's appearing directly beneath the pen tip. Cursor tracking is quite accurate. The cursor will be directly beneath the pen tip most of the time. However, at the edges here, there can be some misalignment depending on how you hold the pen. So I'm a right-hander. When I want to click things here on the left side, the left edge, there is no misalignment. However, if I want to click things here, when the cursor is further away from the edge, it's going to be directly beneath the pen tip. But as you move the pen tip close to the edge, you can see the cursor starts to separate. It's very slight misalignment, so usually when I need to click on things here, I have to be a bit slower and see where the cursor is so that I can click on the things that I want. Many pen displays have these misalignment issues at the edges, but thankfully here it's not like a major deal breaker, as in I'm still able to click on things at the extreme right side like scroll bars, the icons, without any issues. And if you are left-handed, the misalignment will happen here. If you're right-handed, the misalignment will happen here. The direction of the pen actually will matter, especially when you are near the edges. And now let's see what you can do with the driver. This is the macOS driver. The Windows driver has very similar functionality. So here is where you can customize the two side buttons here to various mouse clicks or keyboard shortcuts. The pressure curve here can be adjusted by moving this point around, which is nice, better compared to those sliders. And I use the default mapping. So if you have misalignment with the cursor and the pen tip, this is where you can calibrate it. And if you are a left-hander, you can change the orientation of the pen display here. This is where you can customize the 6 physical shortcut buttons. You can create shortcut sets for software that you use. So for example, you can create one set of shortcuts for Photoshop, another set of shortcuts for Illustrator, and when you switch between Photoshop and Illustrator, those shortcut sets will load automatically. That's quite convenient. So let's see what you can change here. You can assign mouse clicks to the 6 physical shortcut buttons. You can assign keyboard shortcuts. With accurate mode, it will slow down the cursor so that you can draw more slowly, more carefully. That's the pen eraser toggle. Monitor switch works well on both Mac and Windows, and that's the dull function switch, which is not used here since there is no dull. To input your own keyboard shortcut, just click on keyboard and you can enter your keyboard shortcuts here. The modifier keys have to be selected here though. With the Windows driver, there's this additional Windows Ink function which you may have to toggle on or off if pressure sensitivity is not working as expected. And there's also this additional monitor setting functionality here that allows you to adjust the color temperature, the RGB, the brightness, and the contrast. On Mac OS, the color settings have to be adjusted through System Preferences, Display, choose Color, choose your display, and click Calibrate. Now do note that this is changing the color settings. It's not calibrating the display to match the colors on other monitors that you have. The limitation here is with the Veikk VK1200, you can adjust the brightness manually, but there is no way for you to adjust the contrast. And using this calibration feature here in Mac OS, you can adjust the color temperature. Thankfully, by default, the contrast for this pen display, it's pretty good. Before I talk about drawing performance, I want to talk about ergonomics. So currently I have this pen display on this tablet or laptop stand that is adjustable. This is a very good stand. Actually, this tablet stand is still not ideal because this only allows you to change the angle. The pen display is still going to be quite low on the table. So I highly recommend you get a tablet or laptop stand where you can adjust the height to bring the pen display up higher. So with this, I can sit straight and draw. This is significantly more comfortable compared to using the earlier tablet stand where I had to like hunch down and draw. So I highly recommend getting a setup that allows you to move the pen display higher. Let's do some line quality test. So the lines are able to taper quite nicely, and pressure sensitivity works very well. The transition from thin to thick, it's very smooth, and when you zoom in, you can see the curves, they turn very smoothly, and drawing dots, not a problem at all. The line quality and performance, it's consistent and predictable. So the lines, they always come out exactly the way I expect them to. And the buttons here on the side, they work well. So this is pretty much the drawing experience you can expect with other drawing software. I have tested Photoshop. This is MediBang Paint Pro, there's Krita, Clip Studio. They all perform really well, so I'm not going to show you like all the other drawing apps. And the overall drawing experience, it's pretty good. It's smooth, there is no lag whatsoever. The only lag is the pen latency lag, and with my normal drawing speed, it's not really a problem. And now let me show you the drawing performance issues I mentioned right at the start of this review. So the first thing I want to do is to increase the brush size so that you guys can see the cursor. Now with the shortcut buttons here, I have to keep clicking to increase the brush size. That's why I prefer to use a physical keyboard. I can just press and hold this button and the brush size, the cursor will increase automatically until you stop. I'm going to show you some tilt sensitivity issues. This is Krita running on Windows. So the first issue is when the pen is hovering above the display and I change the direction of the pen, the shape of the cursor, it doesn't follow the direction of the pen. I believe this is an issue with the driver because with Mac OS, the shape of the cursor will follow the direction of the pen. Now this is not really a big deal because when you are drawing, the shape of the cursor will update to follow the direction of the pen. However, this is where I want to show you one issue here. So notice as I change the direction of the pen from tilting this way to this way, there is a gap there. And you can see the gap here, here, and here. So it seems like when the pen changes direction from one side to the other, either from top to down, from left to right, or right to left, there is this gap. Here you see this gap here, 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 and here. Now when you are shading with the tilt brush, like this, you may actually change direction and some of the shading is not going to be that smooth. So you see that gap here. To prevent that, you have to shade in a way that the pen, it doesn't change the direction. So now you can see the shading, it's quite smooth. This performance that you see with Krita on Windows is the same with Krita on Mac OS. If you use tilt brushes, this is definitely something you should take note of, and if you don't use tilt brushes, then this doesn't really matter. The next issue is with Medibank Paint Pro on Windows. So when I draw like really quickly and I zoom in, you can see the lines, they are not that smooth. They appear to be a bit angular. So the workaround is to draw more slowly, in which case the lines, they appear to be smoother. Now this could be an issue with the driver as well, so sometimes you have to toggle the Windows Ink feature and turn on Windows Ink, by the way. So now when I try and draw the same thing again, the same lines, I can see the lines, they are way smoother. Another issue is I am not able to get the lines to taper nicely. So you can see the end of the lines, they are quite abrupt. So it could be an issue with Windows Ink. Let me turn that off right now. Nope, the lines, they still don't taper as nicely. Now the issues with Medibank Paint Pro on Windows, you don't see that with Mac OS. So drawing performance with Medibank Paint Pro on the Mac, it's excellent. And this is Clip Studio Paint on Windows. So the lines here, you can see they taper very nicely. So I believe the issue with Medibank Paint Pro on Windows, it could be a combination of the driver and the drawing software. Drawing performance with Clip Studio Paint on Windows and on Mac, it's excellent. So the overall drawing performance, it's good. It's just that with Krita on Windows and Mac, and also Medibank Paint Pro with Windows, you have to take note of those small issues. Like for example here, I try to taper the hair strokes, the lines, they don't taper that well. But if you are using other drawing software, then you're not going to see problems like this. Alright, to conclude, let me just run through the pros and cons. I like the design, I like the build quality, which is much better than I expected. The display looks nice, the colors are relatively accurate, and overall drawing performance are pretty good except for the issues with Medibank Paint Pro on Windows and the tilt issues with Krita on both Windows and Mac. But other than that, when drawing with Photoshop, Clip Studio, no issues at all. So I believe those are issues that I showed you earlier. Those were all driver related issues. One thing I keep thinking about when drawing and when using this pen display is this size here, which I feel is a bit small. But of course, if you have the budget, you can always go for something larger. Veikk, they do sell larger pen displays. If you are interested to buy this pen display, just visit the links that I have for you in the video description below. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. I hope this video is helpful. See you in the next one. Bye.